I never stole from the houses I entered. I know that doesn't make it better. Breaking into someone's home is still breaking into someone's home. Whether you take their jewelry or just stand in their kitchen looking at their family photos, you have already crossed a line no decent person crosses. I understand that now. Back then, I had a different word for myself. I called myself a reverse thief. I didn't take things. I left them. The first time it happened, I was 28, living alone in a small rented house on the edge of a quiet neighborhood. I was lost in life, in a way that felt boring more than tragic. No real career, no relationship, no big dream. I worked a warehouse job, came home, ate frozen meals, scrolled my phone, and went to bed angry that every day felt exactly like the last. Then, one afternoon, I walked past a house 2 streets over and saw contractors carrying tools out to their truck. A window on the side of the house had been left open. Not wide open, just enough. I don't know why I did it. That's the part I hate admitting. There was no plan, no hunger, no emergency. I just looked around, saw nobody, and climbed in. The house was empty. That should have scared me. Instead, it gave me the strongest rush I had felt in years. I walked through the living room, the kitchen, the hallway. I didn't touch much at first. I just looked. A mug beside the sink, a grocery list on the fridge, a pair of kids' sneakers by the door. There was something sickly fascinating about seeing the private shape of someone's life when they had no idea I was there. I stayed maybe 4 minutes, then I left. For the rest of the day, I felt alive. That was the beginning. At first, I only entered houses I knew were empty. I watched routines. I learned when people left for work, when delivery trucks came, which back doors had weak locks, which side windows were hidden by fences. I told myself I wasn't a burglar because I didn't steal. Then that stopped being enough. The rush faded, so I started leaving things behind. Small things at first. A button on a kitchen counter, a folded napkin on a pillow, a plastic toy in a bathroom sink. Nothing threatening, at least not in my mind. Just something impossible for the homeowner to explain. I would sit in my car down the street after they came home and imagine the conversation. Did you leave this here? No, I thought you did. That thought made me smile. I know how disgusting that sounds. The first uneasy detail happened after I left a yellow flower in a woman's laundry room. I had picked it from a bush outside her house and placed it carefully on top of her dryer. Then, I left through the same window I came in from. Later that evening, I parked far enough away to watch the house. The woman came home with her husband. They went inside. 20 minutes later, the porch light came on, then the back light, then the upstairs bedroom light. They were searching the house. I felt proud. Not guilty, proud. That was how far gone I was. Over the next few months, I got worse. I left a small blue marble inside a medicine cabinet, a birthday candle on someone's keyboard, a playing card under a baby monitor, a pink hair clip in a couple's bedroom even though nobody in the house had long hair. That one caused a fight. I heard them through the open window while I hid behind their fence. The woman was crying. The man kept saying he didn't know where it came from. I stayed there until my knees hurt, listening to the damage I had caused. I told myself I would stop after that. I didn't, because the next week, I came home from work and found a yellow flower on my kitchen counter. Not near the door, not on the porch, Inside, on the counter, it sat in a small glass cup I didn't own, the stem cut short, the petals bright and fresh. Beside it was a folded white note. The handwriting was neat, almost beautiful. "We know it was you." For a full minute, I didn't move. I looked at the front door. Locked. Back door. Locked. Kitchen window. Locked. Bedroom window. Locked. Nothing was broken. Nothing was missing. But someone had been inside my house. My first thought should have been police. But people like me don't call police when karma knocks. If someone knew what I'd been doing, one report could ruin my life. I could lose my job. My landlord could kick me out. Worse, all those families could find out. So I threw the flower in the trash, ripped up the note, and spent the night sitting in my bedroom with a chair against the door. That was the false safety moment. Because nothing happened that night. Nothing happened the next morning either. I told myself it was a warning. Maybe one of the people I had targeted had followed me. Maybe they wanted to scare me, not expose me. Fine. Message received. I was done. No more houses. No more windows. No more little objects left behind. For the first time in months, I went straight home after work and stayed there. 2 days later, there was another object on the counter. A tiny toy car. Same color as mine, dark red. It sat facing the front door like someone had parked it there carefully. Under it was another note. Not done. This time, I checked everything. Closets, bathroom, basement door, under the bed. I walked through my whole house holding a kitchen knife, shaking so badly I almost dropped it twice. Nobody was inside, but in the living room, one photo frame had been turned around. Just one. A picture of me and my mother from years earlier. The frame now faced the wall. I didn't sleep at home that night. I drove to a motel across town and paid cash. I sat on the bed until sunrise, telling myself I had two choices: confess or disappear. But confessing meant admitting what I had done. Disappearing meant giving whoever this was complete control over me. So I went home the next afternoon. The front door was locked. The back door was locked. But the house smelled different, like flowers. Not strong, just faint enough to notice. There were no new notes in the kitchen. No toy car. No flower. For one brief second, I felt relief. Then I heard whispering through the floor vent. I froze in the hallway. My basement was below the living room, unfinished, with concrete walls and one small laundry area. I rarely went down there. The vent near the hallway carried sound from below, and now I could hear voices through it. At least two people, muffled, too low to understand. I got down on my knees and put my ear closer. The voices stopped. Then, someone below me whispered, "Too close." I scrambled backwards so fast I hit the wall. I wanted to run out of the house immediately. I should have. But fear does strange things to pride. I needed to know who was doing this. I needed a face, a reason, some proof that I wasn't losing my mind. So I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and opened the basement door. The stairs led down into darkness. I stood at the top and shouted, "Who's down there?" No answer. I took one step down. The wood creaked loudly. From the basement, someone made a soft shushing sound. Not a loud, gentle, like they were calming a child. I ran. I slammed the basement door, grabbed my car keys, and left so fast I forgot my wallet. That night, I stayed at my mother's apartment and told her my landlord was fixing a plumbing issue. I hated myself for how easily the lie came out. I stayed with her for a week. During that week, nothing happened. No notes, no flowers, no messages. I started to believe whoever had been inside my house had gotten bored. Maybe they saw I wasn't coming home and gave up. I contacted my landlord and asked if I could end my lease early. He agreed. I went back on a Saturday afternoon to pack. The moment I pulled into the driveway, I knew someone had been there. The front door was open. Not wide open, just cracked. Exactly the way I used to leave doors when I slipped into other people's houses, so I could hear if someone came in. I almost drove away, but most of my life was inside that house, and I couldn't keep running from my own things. So I went in with my phone, ready to call for help if I had to. The house was quiet. In the kitchen, the counter was covered with objects. Not random objects, mine. A button for my old winter coat, a receipt for my glove compartment, a shoelace from a pair of shoes I had thrown out months earlier, a childhood photo I kept in a box under my bed, and in the center of everything, another yellow flower, fresh, bright, impossible. The note beside it said, "We leave things too." I don't know why that sentence scared me more than all the others. Maybe because it sounded proud. I backed away from the counter and heard movement below. The basement, again. This time, it wasn't whispering. It was footsteps, slow, barely audible, crossing the concrete floor beneath me. I should have left. Instead, I walked to the basement door. I had done so many terrible things in other people's homes because I thought privacy made me powerful. Now, standing in my own hallway, I understood the other side of it. The helplessness, the violation, the sick feeling that your walls no longer belong to you. I opened the basement door. "Get out!" I shouted. Silence. I turned on the stairlight. The bulb flickered, then stayed on. I went down 3 steps, then 4. The basement looked empty from the stairs. Washing machine, storage boxes, old paint cans, water heater humming in the corner. Then I saw the flowers. There were dozens of them. Yellow flowers, lined along the back wall in small jars, cups, cans, anything that could hold water. Some fresh, some wilted, some completely dried out. I went down the rest of the stairs because my brain could not understand what my eyes were seeing. Beside the flowers was a folding chair. On the chair sat a notebook. I opened it. Every page had an address. Every house I had entered. Not some of them. All of them. Dates, times, objects I had left. And beside each entry, in different handwriting, there was a note. "Found the marble. Returned the candle." She cried over the hair clip. He blamed himself. Watched him hide behind the fence. I dropped the notebook. Behind me. Upstairs, the front door closed. The sound echoed through the house. I ran up the stairs, but the basement door shut before I reached it. Not slammed, closed. Then the lock clicked. I don't have a lock on the outside of my basement door. I started kicking it, shouting, begging. I screamed that I was sorry, that I would stop, that I wouldn't tell anyone, that I would leave town. I said everything people probably say when they finally understand they are not in control. From the other side of the door, a woman's voice said, "Now you know." That was all. Nothing else happened for almost 10 minutes. Then the door opened. No one was there. I didn't wait. I ran out of the house, across the yard, into my car. As I backed out of the driveway, I saw them. Across the street stood an older couple. I had never seen them before. They looked maybe late 50s or early 60s. Normal clothes, calm faces. The woman held a yellow flower in one hand. The man stood beside her with both hands in his jacket pockets. They didn't wave. They didn't smile. They just watched me. I drove straight to my mother's and never slept in that house again. My landlord packed the rest of my things with a friend of mine present. He said nothing seemed strange when he went inside. No flowers, no notebook, no basement voices. Just a messy house belonging to a tenant who wanted out early. I asked if he saw the older couple across the street. He said that house had been empty for months. I moved 3 towns away after that. I wish I could say I turned into a good person overnight. I didn't, but I never entered another house that wasn't mine. I never watched people's routines again. I never left objects behind and imagined their panic like it was entertainment. Because I learned something simple. There is no such thing as harmless trespassing. A home is not just walls and furniture. It is the one place a person believes the outside world has to ask permission. And I had taken that feeling from people for fun. Sometimes, I still find yellow flowers on my windshield, in my mailbox. Once, inside a kitchen drawer in an apartment only I had a key to, never with a note anymore, just the flower. At first, I thought they were reminders. Now, I think they're receipts, because every house I entered belonged to someone. Every object I left behind created fear, and somewhere out there, someone kept count.